Our lives are the greatest gift we've ever received.
It's so hard to tell you.
The assumption is that the older version of ourself is necessarily a wiser, better version of our younger self.
That is true, and when you're older, you'll realize that.
Grown-up Adam is a good man, but when it comes to his father,
he's bitter and wrong.
He's bitter and wrong.
And you, what do you need?
We have things we can learn from our younger selves.
I spent 30 years trying to get away from the me that was you.
To be able to look back on lessons learned and not have to relearn them, are you remembering what life has taught you?
I hate to say it, but you were the best part all along.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Cinema Therapy. I am Alan Seawright, professional filmmaker who needs therapy, and that is...
Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist who loves movies. What are we doing today?
What we're going to do, you're going to react to a film, as you often do, The Adam Project.
Ooh!
The Ryan Reynolds, Mark Ruffalo,
Jennifer Garner,
Zoe Saldana. This cast is great.
Something that Netflix is doing right now is something that no one else is doing.
Pooping out crap?
That and doing movies that aren't superhero movies.
That's true. Well, Ryan Reynolds is kind of a superhero.
This reminds me a little bit of kind of an 80s Flight of the Navigator meets Back to the Future, like borrows from a lot of that, but set now. Like
it is very much kind of an 80s.
It's got an Amblin Entertainment
sci-fi
feel.
Action-y flick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super fun. And look, is it the greatest movie I've ever watched? Nah. But was I surprised at how much I enjoyed it? Absolutely.
The dramatic stuff slaps.
Like, really hits home.
Yeah.
I'm really not looking forward to this because all we're going to do is watch the dramatic stuff today, and I am going to cry like a baby.
Yay!
So here we go.
Sorry, it's been a rough day. Couple of years.
You boys still having a hard time?
Oh, he hates me. It's not his fault. He's just dealing.
Love him listening to her talk about him as a kid.
Wish I knew what I was doing wrong.
You're not doing anything wrong.
Sorry. The way he plays, like, I can't keep it in anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're right, though. Teenage boys are horrible. It's like living with a urinal cake that yells at you. Mothers are usually the ones who take the hit.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. Boys always come back for their mamas.
That's nice. It sounds like you're speaking from experience.
I am.
You have a good mom.
I do.
Wow.
I have the best mom.
This is a little weird.
You're right. I'm still researching boarding schools in Fallujah. So.
Good.
No, I don't mean that. He's such a sweet kid. I'm crazy about him. We lost his dad in a car accident year before last.
That's tough.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, I have some idea.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Jinx.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aren't you grieving too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. Of course I am.
So tell him. You should tell him.
I don't think he needs
You
it.
think you're being strong for him. And the problem with acting like you have it all together is he believes it.
One of the reasons he takes you for granted and treats you.
Maybe he needs to know that you don't.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't.
I watched the scene and I suddenly remembered movies that I'd watched like a decade plus ago where I remembered that he's a great dramatic actor.
He is an exceptional talent. Jennifer Garner is also exceptionally good. Like, she is one of our best all-time on-screen criers. If you've ever watched Alias, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, she will get you in the feels. So what's great about this film is she gets to stretch her comedic legs. Turns out if you have Ryan Reynolds, write or punch up dialogue for her. She crushes it. But then you get to have this scene where they're kind of throwing a little bit of that snarky, sparky dialogue back and forth to each other, but then they both get to just, man, it's just beautiful.
I do want to say this is like the inverse of Back to the Future.
Right.
Where instead of being young, they're both older, and, no one's trying to hook up with anybody.
That is your name, isn't it? Calvin Klein? It's written all over your underwear.
There's so many nuggets in here. On a personal note, when he talks about her acting like she's got it all together, and he believes it, I relate to that because my mom had 12 years of one major health problem after another before she passed away.
Right.
And so much of that she didn't disclose to her kids.
I mean, a lot of it you didn't even know about, right?
Right. There's some of it that there's no way to hide. Oh, you had a
Sure.
spinal fusion and you're going to be in bed for 2 months. Like that's
You
got
find
to
out
tell,
about
you got to
that
tell
one.
the story, yeah.
Right.
But there's a lot of things we didn't know about because she didn't want us to worry and she didn't want us to be sad. And I remember being so frustrated with her because I was at this point I was in my early 20s and I was just so upset because she'd been there for me my whole life and I was not being given the chance to be there for her.
Right.
How important it is as a parent to let your kids know that you're human and real and that you're struggling. My kids are more empathetic people because I've told them when I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
That's not to say here's all my business and I'm going to treat my kid like my therapist.
Sure, yeah, that's not awesome.
But I don't necessarily put up the strong front. They've seen me sad sometimes. Are you okay, Dad? I'm like, I'm having a hard day. They've seen me cry. They've come, they put their arms around me. And as long as I assure them, like, it's not theirs to fix, I just need them to love me, then they actually feel great because, hey, I was there for Dad. It's a good feeling for a kid.
The reading's on my website, and I'll see you Tuesday.
So, 40-year-old Ryan Reynolds and
50 now, Mark Ruffalo? Late 40s?
late 40s, 50s. And 12-year-old Ryan Reynolds, who I don't know who this kid is, but he's perfect,
Yeah,
have now traveled back
Dad.
4 years.
2018.
So this kid hasn't seen his dad alive for a year.
Is this time travel?
And the kid is a perfect match.
It is stunning
For Ryan
how good
Reynolds.
he is.
You can't be here. You can't be anywhere but your own timeline.
What do you think we're doing here? You think we're short of hugs in the future? There's a reason I need to talk to him.
Don't care.
No,
Don't get me
He
this the
doesn't
wrong
care.
way. I'm very happy to see you, and I mean this in the best possible way, but you need to piss off back to where you came from. Anything you say or do could cause a divergence.
Can you please just shut up for a second?
No,
and
I'm not gonna listen.
For a
I'm
second
not gonna
and
listen
listen
to
to
you
me,
because
okay?
what
Shut
you
the
are
physics
doing
fountain
is
in your
reckless.
face.
It's not-
Dad! Are you okay?
God damn it. In fairness,
It's okay.
I asked him nicely to shut up and to listen. He did no such thing.
It's okay. It's fine. I'm fine.
So,
It's a joke.
You don't hit people in this family.
what was that?
That's what you get. God! How did you turn out to be such an ass? Thought you loved me.
I do!
None of it matters anymore anyway.
Are you kidding me? Of course it matters.
Dad?
Of course it matters. They don't have safeguards where you come from, protocols. Maya and I agreed
Dad?
there'd be an ethics
Dad?
panel with real oversight.
None of it matters anymore.
Probably should have had some commentary during that scene, but it was too good. So we just watched it like dummies. That's two great actors and also a third great actor who didn't have a ton to do,
Yeah.
but was putting in work. I want you to talk about the family dynamics of a dad who's not listening to his kid and a kid who's pissed off and how they just slipped back into like dad and kid mode, which was amazing.
Well, I love that son punches father, father punches son, and then says, "We don't hit people."
We don't hit people in this family.
What was that?
That's what you get.
What is more relatable than your dad won't freaking listen to you? Shut up, Dad. I have something important to say. You don't have anything important to say. You're a kid and you're obviously doing something wrong and dumb.
Well, Dad has this belief because he's what I call a thinker personality, which
Yeah.
our personalities course you can take on our Patreon.
Yes.
Where you can learn about the different personality types and how to relate to people who are different from you. He's a thinker personality, which means, generally speaking, he's right because he's done the research and he's thought things through and he usually knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, in this case, he is objectively correct.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand the extenuating circumstances.
He doesn't understand that there's this other perspective, and that's something that thinkers struggle with, is they're so used to being right that often when they're wrong, it's hard for them to see it.
Just saving her time, isn't that kinder?
No. Sherlock, that wasn't kind.
They have this blind spot, and his son is telling him, Dad, it doesn't matter anymore. And he says that like 5 or 6 times before his dad actually hears it. Because the example I like to use is a general observing the battlefield and has a scout on the hill, and the scout comes down and reports. The general's not a poor observer of what's going on or doesn't have a poor understanding or a bad brain. Here's just a perspective that I don't have. That's why I sent the scout up on the hill.
Sure.
And yet in our relationships, especially as parents, we refuse to let our kids be the scouts on the hill because I'm the parent. I'm the general. You just do what I say. And we can always benefit from another perspective. And by always, I mean sometimes, because sometimes...
Listen, a lot of my kids' perspectives are dumb. I'll say it.
But generally speaking, we benefit from an outside perspective. And Dad's not taking it until his son punches him in the face.
So the lesson is, if people won't listen, punch them.
You can... What I do...
Just punch people in the face?
I verbally punch people.
Oh, okay.
And so I do like this fake anger thing where I go, hey! And people are like, what just happened?
Whoa.
And then I almost am like, psych, but since I have your attention, it's like when you yell it's like when you yell sex and you're like, well, now that I've got your attention.
Now that I've got your attention.
And so I will verbally punch people with a loud hey just because they're so unused to it. But yeah, no, don't punch people in the face.
We don't do that in this family.
Today we are eating green caramel apple.
Because it's sweet and tasty and surprisingly satisfying.
Just like this movie.
Just like this movie.
Buy our popcorn in our store below.
But I will tell you this, you being here opens up the potential for catastrophic reconfiguration, and that is quantifiable. Stop what?
Stop being a scientist.
But I am a scientist.
Be a father. You're always more interested in the universe than you were your own son.
That's not true.
That is true, and when you're older, you'll realize that. You know what? That ship has sailed. It's too late for me, so, whatever. I'm fine. But he needs you.
And you, what do you need?
I need to go for a walk.
Such a great bit of performance from both of them. Ryan Reynolds is still a hurt little boy. And Mark Ruffalo, he knows he's not perfect, but he knows he's been a pretty good dad.
Yeah.
And he's trying to help his son still. And he's trying to figure out, okay, what do you need? You know?
I first watched this scene and I bought it hook, line, and sinker that what Ryan Reynolds is saying, he's our protagonist.
Right.
He's got the benefit of coming from the future. Mm-hmm. So what he's saying is exactly what's going on. Because we're so used to characters learning and growing across time and gaining more insight because they have the time and the experience. And so the assumption is because he has the time that younger him and his dad don't have, that he's the reliable narrator. And then the next scene just flips that completely on its head, and I love it.
I gotta say one thing about this movie. It is beautifully shot.
I know you think you know more than me because you're older.
Go away, Adam.
And I know why you hate him so much.
Really? Well, do tell. I'm on the edge of my seat here. Holy I wonder what was it because he's narcissistic or never came home from work or cared more about his job than he did his job?
Because he died. You hate him because he died. You made yourself hate him because it was easier than missing him. And I remember some stuff that you maybe don't want to.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
You played catch with us almost every night.
Catch?
He'd get home from work, be so tired. And I'd be in the yard throwing the ball against the pitchback. You remember the pitchback, right?
Oh, I remember the pitchback. Yeah, he bought it so he didn't have to play with me.
Nope. He bought it because they had one in the window of Altman's. And every time we passed that store, I begged him to buy it for me. So that's what Dad did. But he'd see me throwing in the yard, and no matter how tired he was, he'd always grab his mitt to come out for a catch.
This kid's so good.
Things happen to you, to us. And we suck at dealing with it. I'm starting to think that's something we do. I give Mom a hard time now, and I think it's easier to be angry than it is to be sad. And I guess when I get older, I forget that there's a difference.
So many truth bombs.
Yep.
How'd you get to be so smart?
How'd you get to be so dumb?
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to drop this bomb. How would I have done it better?
Bold claim.
Bold claim. I can't make any changes to that scene. It's perfect.
I was going to say, this scene, I don't think you can improve on.
No. Just the joke at the end. Comedy plays in a wide. It is always funnier to see people act and react together than to cut and cut.
Mm-hmm.
He starts reaching for the beer in his close-up, and then it goes to the wide. I would have held a little bit longer on him, like, looking meaningfully at Ryan Reynolds, and then gone to the wide. And Ryan Reynolds, I would have had him actually speed up and try and get there before. And Ryan kind of has to, like, whoa.
To chase the beer.
To chase the beer. It's a great joke, and it would have been twice as funny.
How'd you get to be so smart?
How'd you get to be so dumb? And it's just little baby Ryan Reynolds. Like, it's the perfect Ryan Reynolds delivery.
I think in life we're so used to the idea of, if only I knew then what I know now.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't judge yourself for not knowing what you know before you knew it. That type of thing, you know?
Sure, I could follow those words.
And so, well, but the assumption is that we learn and we grow and that we're consistently getting better, and that the older version of ourselves is necessarily a wiser, better version of our younger self.
Yeah, not always the case.
Not always the case, and this film plays with that beautifully. That I love that Adam, grown-up Adam, is a good man, and he's a good husband, and he's got a healthy relationship with his wife, and, like, he's not a total jerk.
No, he's a good guy.
But when it comes to his father...
He's bitter and wrong.
He's bitter and wrong.
Yeah.
And I love the insight of, you made yourself hate him because it was easier than missing him.
Yep.
And that is such good writing and psychologically very, very sound. We have things we can learn from our younger selves.
For sure.
Which is honestly one of the best reasons to keep a journal. Journaling is kind of it's a lost art. I mean, a lot of people use journaling psychologically to process their emotions, whatever. But actually just talking about your thoughts and feelings and what's happening in your life, you think that you'll remember everything, and you won't. And you think the photos will be enough to bring it back.
You get partial information, yeah.
Our lives are the greatest gift we've ever received.
Right.
And to be able to look back on lessons learned and not have to relearn them is also...
pretty great.
Yeah, a big gift. They say it's for posterity. I don't know that anyone's going to care. Do it for you.
Who cares? Yeah. Are you going to read it?
Are you remembering what life has taught you?
I don't know if I should have built that game for him. I mean, shouldn't he just be outside playing with the rest of the kids? I mean, how in the hell is he going to find his place in the world?
His place in the world? He's a kid. We're his place in the world.
You're his place in the world.
Your mom goes to college.
Okay, whatever is going on, listen, I can tell you the truth, or I can tell you something that's going to make you feel better. I'd rather cut to it and tell you the truth, if you're up for it.
I'd rather you...
That is the most Alicia line.
You feel better? Kidding, sort of. Okay, tell me.
When you are with us, you're with us 100%. It's amazing. And when you're not, it's like, so is he a little lonely? Yeah, probably. But does that make you a guy? No.
I've got to do better.
Hey, buddy, I have good news for you. He doesn't need perfect. He just needs you. Your cooking makes you a borderline serial killer. But the rest of you is pretty awesome.
Ellie.
That seems like a Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, that was definitely a punch up from
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Reynolds.
Extremely lovable.
So was that.
He doesn't need perfect, he just needs you. The most reassuring words any parent could hear. It's very comforting to me that they don't need perfect, they just need you.
Yeah.
And that you can always do better. And I think that's a great way to live your life, is no matter what's happened in the past, like, I can literally start right now. What can I do right now? You know?
Yeah.
This is a good movie.
It is a really good movie.
Look, Dad,
There's something that we need to tell you.
I already know. I knew the moment I saw you. I'm sorry, boys. I'm sorry that I'm not gonna be there for you down the road, and I've given it a lot of thought, but you cannot tell me how or when it happens. You came back here because no one has a right to change the future, including us.
It's your future.
No. You're my future. Both of you. And how lucky am I that I got to see it. I haven't been there for you, and I'm sorry. But I saw you being born. I watched you take your first breath. And after that happens, nothing is ever the same again. You're my son, Adam, and I love you. You're my boy, and I love you. I loved you from the first minute that I saw you, and that will never change. Adam.
Just turns into Good Will Hunting, and it gets me anyway.
You're amazing. I love you.
I get it, Dad.
I don't think you do. I am proud of you.
Okay.
I love you, son. Know that inside your heart. No, come here. Come here. You're my boys, and you'll always be my boys throughout all time.
I love you, Dad.
I love you, buddy. Don't carry this around anymore.
I need you, Dad. It's so hard with
It's so damn good.
I know. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be better than okay.
You don't know that.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen this guy?
Oh man.
I know how you guys did it, and it still worked. So screw you. Screw you, Ryan Reynolds, Mark Ruffalo, Sean Levy, and who's the composer? Especially screw you, composer. Just because it worked doesn't mean you're not a bad person.
I was watching this with my kids because what had happened was I put them to bed and then I started to watch this.
Then suddenly all of them were there watching it with you?
Well, again, Mom was out of town, so I needed someone to snuggle with. So they all just piled into the bed. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, guys, you really should. They're like, please, Dad. Please. So I'm like, fine.
Just one movie.
And at this moment when he's like, you're my son and I love you, know that. You don't have to carry this around anymore. My daughter goes, why isn't he saying this to the little boy? The little boy needs him too.
Wow, way to ruin it, Lydia. Good job.
And I said to her, he is. He's saying it to, by saying it to one, he's saying it to the other.
To both, yeah.
The reason you cry, the reason I cried the first time I watched it is because we need to hear these words or these types of words.
Yeah.
And all of us can do that. Not just for your kids. I mean, we have an aversion to vulnerability and sentimentality.
Yes.
It makes people squirm. And I love that they play
into... And we crave it in movies. So what does that say about you? Stop lying to yourself.
But it would look a lot in real life like it looked here. Because he's like, you don't have to say that, Dad. And he's visibly uncomfortable, but he needs it. Mm-hmm. And he internalizes it. And yes, it's very Good Will Hunting.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, no, I mean, come on, they just reversed the angles, but it's the exact same setup shots. Like, credit to the filmmakers and especially Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo, crushed it.
Yeah.
More of this, please. More cheesy sci-fi movies that have no right to make me feel things that do.
The stories that resonate make you feel. Sometimes they're straight comedies, and so what they make you feel is just levity and
joy,
laugh a lot.
Yeah.
But I think any story, no matter the genre, if it's not making you feel and not making you think,
it's a failure.
Yeah. So until next time.
How'd you get to be so smart?
How'd you get to be so dumb? And
watch movies.
Listen, I didn't mean it.
Thank you to all our Patreon patrons for patronizing this patronage. That wasn't smart. But anyway, especially these ones.
Lake Willow, Julia Scott, Molly Suede, Robert, and DJ Woods. Thank you for supporting our channel.
DJ Woods is my favorite golf DJ.
Oh my gosh.
Dad jokes.
Yeah, we got him.
We got him.
Brad's got jokes.